So I just set this up to see if, well, a little early, just to make sure I got things set up all right. Um, so this will be, in about 7 minutes I'll start, and we can talk at that time. I have no idea what happened there. So I'll be starting in about 4 minutes. Hello there, Chris. I see you're there. Um, I'll be starting in a few moments. I believe the way chat works is I can see typed questions or statements from everybody. I believe everybody can see your typed question as well. And I'm going to start, like I said, right at 7 with a short recap as to what's going on and where I've been. And then after about 10 minutes or so, maybe just go into any questions that people have, or I can continue blathering on for a few moments. Hello, Jennifer. I got this started a few minutes early just to make sure I knew what I was doing. And I see now I understand how the chat works, so thank you for saying hello. I won't be saying hello to everybody if they start flooding in, because I want to go into the topic, and I'll be, like I said, I'll be starting at 7, which is about a minute away. This way with it. Yeah. I've learned one thing is if I turn the orientation the way I want it to, I can't read the questions unless I tilt my head, and I'm not going to do that. That is correct, but everybody can see your questions, I think. I assume you saw Chris's. Hi, Chuck. And I set this for not for kids, but I just like to make sure the language stays clean for kids just in case. So it's 7 o'clock. I'm going to start. I don't know how much participation there'll be out there, but I'm Sunny Jim. I'm on the trail, the AT, been there for 70 something days now, I think. And I passed mile 850, I believe. My date is I've been running around today, so I haven't updated all my stats. But what's happened in the past week is in this section of the country, and I understand the rest of the country as well, we've been in a high heat bubble. And it definitely impacted my hike going through the Appalachian Virginia's Triple Crown, which is the Dragon's Tooth, McAfee Knob, and the cliffs, the Tinker Cliffs. And there's a beautiful section, but it just sapped all the energy out of me. Any hill that came along made it that much more difficult. So where I used to always refer to Triple H weather, hot, hazy, and humid, now I'm calling it hills, heat, and humid, because the hills just seem to get bigger and harder to do at that time. The issue that I had with not being able to post videos for the past couple of days was twofold. One, the service in the area that I was hiking did not have a lot of availability, and it's very difficult to get anything out. The second issue I had is that I have to do resupplies every several days, and I try to resupply based on where the next one is going to be. So if it's a 3-day hike, then I try to carry 3 plus 1 extra day just in case something happens. And this time it was I was right at the end of the food, right at the right spot at the right time, but it was a 9-mile walk into town, and I got picked up by one of the hostel drivers who politely drove me into town so I could get my resupply, and then he stayed at the store with me, and then he also politely drove me back for a $20 fee, which for a 9-mile road walk uphill was a very, very fair price. So we have a lot of people helping out in the hiking community, and the hostel folks are very good at doing stuff with us for the hikers. We also had so that got me back on trail, but I was not able to recharge my battery packs. So I was running on fumes at the end, where I would just look at my map. I use an app called Far Out, which is, I think it's Far Out. And I look at that. It used to be called Gut Hooks, but you look at that, and I just get an idea of what my hike was going to be for the day, and I just go from that point on and not try to look at it much, and certainly not text or call or do anything on the internet. So that severely limited me in being able to do stuff. But that's basically what happened there. And service in general on the AT hit or miss. One time Verizon's good, and then AT&T, then T-Mobile. If anybody's going out there hiking, you just got to go with whatever program you have or plan you have and hope for the best. Usually you'll get service at some point in time. You'd think you get really great service at the peak of a mountain, but all the cell towers are below you, so it doesn't always work out that well. Trail magic. I want to talk a little bit about trail magic. People will hear about that, and trail angels. Trail angels are people that do trail magic. Sometimes they're people that come around and volunteer to pick you up and take you out on the trail or into town and back to the trail. Some do it for a small fee, some do it for free. And so there's a lot of people that are doing that type of stuff. I had a couple of trail angels, Dennis and Beth Creamer, who set up below Dragon's Tooth and provided trail magic for about 20 hikers, counting myself and Papa Bean. We had a good time sitting and talking with them. They had special sub sandwiches for us and beer, so it was a very enjoyable visit with the Creamers. And then they gave us and a couple other hikers a ride to the hostel that we were staying at that night. So that was a very nice bit of trail magic by Trail Angels. Yesterday, I had another exciting bit of trail magic. A family, two brothers were hiking with their families, their wives. Each of them had 3 kids. One was an infant, and I believe it was their mother that was with them. Hiked up to this ledge area, and they got up to the top there. I stopped at one area where I thought the ledge was, and they kept going. I said, "Oh, this is where the good view is." And so I go over there and look, and I saw this ski run and the fancy condos across the way. We were talking about that and hiking and everything. And the gentleman gave me his almond butter and jelly sandwich, and it was chilled in a cooler, very tasty. And I didn't ask for it or anything like that, but it was, I was so grateful because it really lifted my spirits. I was feeling a little bit down at that time. So he did that, and that was a nice bit of trail magic as well. That I had. And then today we tried hitching into town, got a ride, got to the wrong side of town. Another gentleman picked us up and brought us to the right side of town. Everything worked out great. I got to eat at Waffle House. So that was a good deal. As most of you know, I have not monetized. I don't plan to monetize. I have no interest in doing that type of stuff on my channel. I think it's a difficult thing. If you want to see those type of shows, go watch the young kids and how they do it, and I think you'll learn other type of techniques from them as well. I did want to talk about the fears on the trail. Everybody asks me, "Aren't you afraid of bears? Aren't you afraid of people? And shouldn't you carry a gun?" And to be honest, myself and Papa Bean share the same version of what we fear the most, and that's the ticks. I saw a bear just yesterday, and it was like, oh, that's nice. We kind of played tag going up a mountain type of thing for a bit, and he was going straight up, and I was going on the switchbacks. And so as he was coming across, I kept zipping, and he kept coming up, and I was like, oh, geez. But fortunately, he stayed in his spot, and I was able to pass, and that was a safe thing. But on the subject of ticks, a couple of hiker friends that I made early on in the hike, Slim and Dilly Dally, so those were their trail names. The young couple, they were out there hiking, and Dilly Dally, the wife, ended up getting some tick-borne illness and had to be removed from the trail. So she was in a very serious condition at the hospital, told not to go back on the trail for 6 weeks. So that might end their hike. So a lot of times things that end people's hikes are physical or medical emergencies like that. Another topic that I wanted to cover, just because people ask sometimes, is the water situation, hydration. And one of the interesting things that I relearned, or should have remembered, always known, the metric system is a magical thing. You look at a liter and you can everything was base 10 and so forth. But you say you can look at a liter and say, how much does a liter of water weigh? A liter of water weighs 1 kilogram, and it's just wow, that's magic, because now all of a sudden my 1 liter bottles, I know they weigh 1 kilogram, and I know that 1 kilogram is 2.2 pounds. And if I'm carrying 3 liters of water, I'm carrying 6.6 pounds of water. Do you need to carry 6.6 pounds of water? If you're going for 10 miles and there's no water supply, you might. I do, but I've seen people go that same 10 miles in same conditions with a 16-ounce bottle of water. You have to make sure you make sure your own decisions on that, and mind your hydration. So electrolytes, I always recommend having some electrolytes going with you. Look at your water supplies ahead of time. Look at the temperature conditions for the day. Look at the number of hills you have to go up where there isn't water, and then you have to judge, do you carry, I now carry maybe 1.7 liters of water for most occasions, and sometimes even less than that. I've gotten 2 water sources dry, which makes me a little uncomfortable. But just pay attention to that. Do filter your water. I have seen people not filtering. That's a choice. Hopefully they're safe. And one last thing. So I will say, maybe people have seen pictures of my shoes. I was sold a pair of shoes, Ultra Olympus 5. Very nice shoe, very comfortable. The salesperson was not necessarily informed. Told me there was a rock plate in it. There is not. Olympus does not have a rock plate. So a lot of times if you're buying a shoe, make sure you do your own research, but when you're on the trail, you're just looking for a shoe. You want to get that shoe right away. And I was very happy with the shoe. It seemed to do well for me. It was very comfortable until, unfortunately, it delaminated. It delaminated somewhere around mile 350 or so, and that was within 30 days of having bought it. These new type of trail running shoes are pretty much made to last only 300 to 500 miles. But I took a picture of it. I followed the process with Ultra, sent them all the information. I on a Sunday night at about 8 o'clock, and on the Monday morning at about 11 o'clock when I had service, they had already given me a refund for the shoe on their site, and so I was able to order a new pair of shoes. So they do have a very good warranty. It's always worth looking at the warranties. If you buy a shoe and you're not happy with it, you make recourse with the company, and they do try to take care of the thru hikers, or any hiker for that matter. The other warranted item that I dealt with was Darn Tough socks. I love the sock. They're a very comfortable sock. Most hikers seem to use the Darn Tough sock. Again, I'm not monetized. They don't pay me for anything. It's just a product that I do like, and I wore a hole through one. And the process with Darn Tough is you wash it, you mail it back to them, you wait. It took over 30 days, maybe 45 days before the socks actually arrived home from that whole process, once they make a determination. Not a problem, but when you're out on the trail and you just want to go to an outfitter and say, here's my Darn Tough socks, it has a hole in it, give me another pair. There are some that do that, but usually they're in like Roanoke, which is too far off the trail. So it's a little bit of an excellent product. I highly recommend the Darn Tough socks, or whatever you're comfortable with, but it's you got to take care of them. You got to take care of your shoes. You have to learn, and there's a lot of learning that I've done on the trail. So that's pretty much where I've been. Today I'm in Waynesboro, Virginia. It's a small town, very, very quaint in some ways. Main Street's kind of quiet, even if there's a lot of closed storefronts here. I don't know what happened in this particular area, what's going on, but it looks like I don't think they were hit by the floods or anything, or the hurricane, but a lot of places are closed. But there's, other sections that are just thriving. So it's just down in the old part of the city looks like it's due for a big revival, and it's a very nice place. So um, pretty much that's an update. I just kind of thought I'd try a live thing, and if anybody has a question, feel free to type them in there, and I can ramble on for a little bit more. I don't have much more to add. Um, Tomorrow I do start into the Shenandoahs, which, now that I say that, reminds me I have to get my Shenandoah pass. There are 3 places where you need a pass on the trail. You need one for the Smoky Mountains, you need one for the Shenandoahs, and you need one for Baxter State Park. You have to be permitted. I think the Baxter State Park one is free for through hikers, but for the Shenandoahs and Smoky Mountains, there's a associated fee. And Randy, do what? Oh, and there's Mr. Creamer's there. Dennis, thank you. Thanks for joining. It's Oh, so good question, Jen. Do I use mosquito netting when I'm in the shelter? I prefer, well, no, I don't, because I don't have a mosquito netting that I can use in the shelter. I'm a advocate that says do not put a tent up in a shelter. That is etiquette number 101. But I've kind of backed off on that because if somebody has a single tent where it's just either using the screen netting, I kind of look the other way on it. It doesn't get too bad. Last night in the shelter that I was in, I did not have a mosquito netting, and I had absolutely no problems at all. It was very comfortable. I have not been reading on the trail. That's a good question. I have a hard time. It basically comes down to carrying a book, having the battery power. My routine at the end of the day is I get into camp, or a lot of times I just plop into camp and I'm just done. I am totally done. Backpack's off. I start looking for where my bear hang is going to be if they don't have cables, a bear box, or a tree that they call. And then I cook or find a place to set up my tent and cook. And then I'm just pretty much, by that time, it's 8:30, 9 o'clock, and I'm rolling into bed. So I haven't really had a chance to read on the trail. Jeff Davis is planning to do the AT next year. Buddy, good luck. It's a lot of fun. I think you'll definitely enjoy it. One of the recommendations, I don't know when you popped in here, but one of the recommendations would be start early. It might be a little bit colder, but you also might be in the bubble. So the problem with being in the bubble is you end up with more contact of norovirus. Right now, I'm in between a couple of bubbles, minor bubbles, and there's been norovirus all around me. It's just not a whole lot you can do about it other than wash your hands with soap and be careful and look out for all that. So it's a great hike. I did not get noro. I will share that I was sick one night with, I would call them noro-like symptoms, just throwing up, and I had to spend the night and the next day in the shelter recovering. It was a little bit too weak from that, but it wasn't noro. There was some other stomach bug that was going around because there were 3 or 4 other people that had that same type of thing. Good question. Do you carry cash? Venmo, Zelle. So I have Venmo and Zelle. Most of the businesses work on a cash basis. Some of the hostels do Venmo. A very nice hostel, and Jeff, for your future thing, is to Four Pines is at the base of Dragon's Tooth. Four Pines is a donation-based one, and what I've noticed is that hikers tend to be super cheap, and they just don't donate. And at this hostel, they're providing a dinner and a breakfast. They have air-conditioned bunk room, uh, wash, free, laundry and everything, and yet they're not, contributing. I mean, I looked at it as like, hey, this is like a thirty to $40 type of hostel uh, value that you get. So you try to make sure you pay your way and carry your freight. Um, but having Venmo or Zelle is a good thing. PayPal in some cases, but cash is king. Cash always works. And in some places, if you are paying cash, magically tax disappears. So I think that's going into the cash drawer, not being declared necessarily. But if I can save 20 bucks in taxes, I'll do that and play the game with them. Um, Plenty of company. There are always people on the trail. You're never really alone. I keep meeting different people. I keep re-meeting people that you're like, oh, I haven't seen them, and all of a sudden they come up from behind, and I said, when did I pass you? And they go, oh, they took a zero. Um, for that term, there's a lot of terms that you learn on the trail. There's zeros, there's Neros. A zero is you go into town and you stay in a hostel or hotel or wherever, and then you're off the trail totally for 20, for the whole physical day, not just 24 hours, the whole day. So today I ended up hiking 5 miles to get into town, or from the trail onto town, and then I spent the day taking care of laundry, business that I had to take care of with batteries and everything else. And so it's going to end up being a 5 mile day. Tomorrow morning, I'll get back on the trail. So ideally, I would like to have no zeros. I know that I will have a zero. And it's a good thing to do sometimes because it helps your body recover. So there are always people on the trail. There are people that live on the trail. Their whole life is in their backpack, and they walk the trail or a variety of trails 12 months a year. So essentially, they're homeless, living off the grid and doing what they have to do for that. So you meet all kinds. You hear all types of stories, and you just have to take some of them with a grain of salt. But I made some new acquaintances. I'll call them acquaintances because they become good friends for 2 days, and then next day they have a 25-mile day and they're gone. And I'm right now I'm pretty well capped somewhere in that 14 to 16 range. Yesterday I could have done 21 miles. Um, a must-have in the pack. Well, I was. Well, it's not unusual. I like my little cork yoga ball, massage ball. That's a pretty handy thing. A lot of people have those out there, and for massaging your feet, your muscles, and your thighs. Um, the biggest lesson to learn, I think, so far is how to eat on the trail, and you're burning somewhere between 4 to 5,000 calories a day. I know I've lost somewhere between 25 and 30 pounds. It might be more when I looked at myself in the mirror. So I haven't found a scale yet. I'm afraid to look. Um, so a lot of it comes down to getting the right fats, the right sugars into your diet. How do you eat? How do you eat 4,000 calories a day? And I was chatting with a fellow today. His name was Starburst, after the candy. That's how, sometimes these where the trail names come from. And the interesting thing is, you basically try to figure out how to get 4,000 calories or 3,000 calories into you every day at every meal. And so today I changed my game plan. I went to a protein oatmeal to get more protein in my diet. I've added fatty meats like a salami to get more fat into my diet. It's a tough call. So that's pretty much the main thing. Is like, how do you get that type of stuff into your diet? Great question. What am I using in the hot weather? Well, I'm using my quilt, and I currently have a, what do you call it? Um, Laurel Mountain sleeping bag liner. Well, if anybody wants to buy one of those things, I'll sell you mine cheap. It's like sleeping in a plastic bag. It's not a good product. I have to write to them at some point and let them know that it just doesn't do well. So what I'm looking for now, and I just ordered, was a silk liner, just to have that to be. That's all I need for most of these nights, and then have my quilt ready to pull over the top for when it gets just a little bit nippy. So that's it. Calories per pound, a good target. I don't know what that. Um, I think it's something like, one of the guys that I talked to who seemed very knowledgeable is a fellow named Chipmunk. He was using 2 pounds a day of food and getting the calories in that amount. So, and if you're carrying a five day carry, that's 10 pounds of food. So it then becomes very important how much weight is your base weight in the pack. And if you're carrying 10 pounds of food and 6 pounds of water, the next thing you know, you're carrying, I've been carrying up to 35 pounds in my pack at times, and I'm used to it now, but it's still a lot of weight. But yeah, Jeff, I'd have to research that. I don't know what the proper metric is, but the word on the street that I heard was 2 pounds of food a day, and if that works for you, that's good. You'll lose. The surprising thing is that men lose weight, women get formed more. They get better formats. So yeah. Yeah. Oh, and I'll say one other thing for somebody that's going to do an AT hike. If there's any good training videos that you can see out there and do that, I would suggest do the training. It's not going to necessarily equate to what you're going to have on the trail, but it's better than just watching the videos, because I'd watch the videos and I'd get the ideas. My dry weight in my pack, when I weighed everything out individually, was 18 pounds. That's no food and no water. Um, and so once I added about 9 pounds, 10 pounds of food, there's 28. And then if I added up to 6 pounds of water, there I am right at 34. Um, one of the tips, that's with the pack, yes, the whole pack and everything. So one of the things that you learn on the trail is that there's a saying, the trail provides. And today I came into the hotel that I'm at, so motel, and I was thinking, like, oh, I got to get some Epsom salts. I want to soak my feet. I go into the laundromat that they have here, and there's Epsom salts in the hiker box. So the hiker box was one of these magic things that's at most hostels and outfitters. It's stuff that somebody walked in and they said, I can't stand my Olympus 6 shoes. I wore them 2 days. It's in the hiker box, and so people can find that. So you can find, sometimes you say, oh, I need oatmeal. Well, oatmeal comes like in a 12 pack. Well, I don't need 12 packages of oatmeal. So a lot of times you'll sit there and you'll trade with the other hikers if they're at the store. I'll trade you the oatmeal for some of your apricots and or your fig Newtons and whatever it is. It's a good opportunity to move food around and get use out of it. Of course, some of these stores you go into and it's like, oh, well, hey, we got the family size bag. It's like, well, I just want a small bag of chips. I don't want to feed an army. I'm not going to a picnic. Um, yes, items that I've gotten rid of on the way. I swapped out my sleeping bag for a quilt. I was going to mail my down jacket back today, but the post office in town is closed, so that's going back. I had a bivy sack for reasons still not sure why I carried it, um, other than the fact that with the tent, with a single wall tent, they tend to have a lot of condensation on there, and when it rains, having the bivy sack over your sleeping bag keeps your down sleeping bag dry. Um, and you try to. I've used it once or twice, and I really don't need it because I've gotten better at set my tent set up. And a lot of times when it rains, I try to be in a shelter, so those tend to be dry. So the baby sack's going back. I got rid of my compasses. I had a compass. I sent that back. I got rid of an extra flashlight because I had one. I had two, so I don't need three. Anything that's duplicate, get rid of. I'm still hanging on to my polar fleece. It's nice at the end of the day, and it gets just a little bit cool to take the chill off. Even though it might weigh more than it should, it's a handy thing to have. So yeah, you can kind of decide what it is. 2 pounds of protein powder, yuck. Oh, and by the way, something I learned just the other day is that there's um, powdered peanut butter. You can get it in some grocery stores. They actually have jars of powdered peanut butter, and all you have to do is add water to it, and you got your peanut butter. As opposed to carrying a 1 pound thing of peanut butter, you can carry a 1 pound thing of dry peanut butter and mix it up and get 2 pounds or whatever. Uh, you learn stuff from other hikers on that. Oh, one other tip is if you think you're going to really like ramen and you're going to put that in your supply boxes and have it sent to you all the time, you're going to get tired of ramen. You're going to get tired of the instant potatoes. You're going to get tired of corn chips. Uh, the one of the meals that we do a lot of the Knorr sides and add chicken and other protein to it. You get tired of those, so you start looking for spicier flavors. It's really hard to keep your interest up on the food and to keep eating. So that's the other tip. And then when you go into town and you find the all-you-can-eat place, they run away. I just heard from one of the hikers today. They came into Waynesboro last night for the 4th of July. They had a wing eating contest at some place, and every heat was won by a through hiker. So um, hiker hunger is a real thing. You can eat way more than you ever thought, and yeah, I bet you any one of these hikers could give Joey Chestnut a run on the hot dogs too. So that's pretty much about it. I ran a little bit long here, but I just wanted to give people a chance to see how this live feed works. I try to read questions as I go, but I just really don't have much time or bandwidth to see all that information, so it's very difficult. I have a ton of videos that I haven't strung together. It's going to require, I think, a computer sitting down and doing some editing. If you want to look at some videos of people that do a really good job, Taylor, the New Hampshire hiker, had some good ones. There's a fellow that I met on the trail this year. I think his name is Jimmy Joyce, and Jeff, you might want to look him up. He does a high quality type of video. I think he's a little bit on the rougher side, so it may not be suitable for children, for real. Um, but he, I don't know how far he's gone. I haven't had a chance to really watch all of his videos, but he does a lot of the setting the camera up, and there he is, goes walking. Then he walks back and gets his camera, and does that type of thing. So yeah, hope it's all good. I'm trying to go a little bit faster. Jen, I should be seeing you. I still think possibly on the 11th. I might have to push some hard miles. It may be the 12th. But looking at the terrain in the Shenandoahs, once I get up to that first climb, it should be rolling. I think you'll be in the section that's called the roller coaster. And that might be kind of interesting for you. So we'll see how that goes. And the only other thing I have is that I think at some point, probably at Harper's Ferry, I'm going to have to make the determination to do a what they call a leapfrog and get up either into New Hampshire or Maine to make sure I get to Katahdin on time, and then I'll probably have to do a flip flop and go back down south. So it's not exactly the way I planned it, but I would say one other thing, Jeff, if you're still there, you can look at it later, is start slow, do 8 mile days up front, get your legs, take it easy. It's not a race. I've seen so many of these kids start off and they're blasting 20 miles and then they've blown out their Achilles or knees or whatever. So you take it easy, go slow, and it's a good thing. And Marion, thank you. Happy trails. Thanks for all your support too. Marion's been a trail angel for me by helping me resupply and getting to different places. So oh, Alpha Gal. Okay, that's good. Alpha Gal is a guy. Interesting. So yeah, I'll have to look at Alpha Gal's videos as well. So it's been 35 minutes. I was on early just to see if I could make this work. I really appreciate all the support that I've gotten from everybody in the comments, the love from everybody. It's been very encouraging. The people on the trail have been phenomenal. I can say honestly that I have not felt any danger or felt anybody that just makes me just not want to be around folks. Everybody's been very good. So it's a very positive experience. I think any part of the trail that you do is a good part. And if you hike part of the Appalachian Trail, you've hiked the Appalachian Trail. You're doing it. So just encourage everybody to try it. Jeff, I'll be looking forward to meeting up with you when I'm done, and we'll see if you're all ready to go. I'd be more than happy to talk with you. I'll probably be doing some talks at a brewery or two, I'm sure, when I'm back in New Hampshire. So, all right, with that, I'll sign off. And again, thank you for your support. We'll see you somewhere on the trail or at the end. And like I said, I hope to edit my other videos and make something a little bit more weekly to show some of the scenery, because I have a lot of scenery that I put out there. This short format that I've been using allows me to put something out there when I have service. I just can't edit. I just don't have the time or the patience to edit the stuff on the trail. And if you want to see that stuff, the young kids have it, and most of that is them walking along and talking. And I'm going to try to get more scenery type of things, and that's it. So thanks again. I'll be back doing the updates on a daily basis as long as the service supports it, and hope you all enjoy it. So take care, and we'll call it a wrap. Bye now. Oh, how do I stop it? Ah.